Hey ladies, and welcome to my channel. If you are new here, welcome. If you've been here before, then welcome back. We are now on episode 7, which is so exciting. My name is Christy Williams. I'm a business success coach, and I help women create, build, and launch their very first businesses. Now, I know when you're first starting out, there's a million questions running through your head, right? Like, okay, I have this hobby. I really enjoy it. I'm good at it. I think I want to turn it into a business. And then you go straight to the how-to. So now you're all over Google looking for how to start a business. That's probably how you found this video on YouTube, because you're asking YouTube how to start a business. You're just everywhere, all over the worldwide Webernet. And you're like, okay, I want to figure out how to turn this passion that I have, this hobby or this passion, and turn it into a full-time business. I want you to ask yourself the right questions so that you can get the right answers instead of having all the right answers to the wrong questions. I feel like when we first start out, it's very, very easy to go from thought to action immediately. Now, I'm a big, huge supporter of that. I always feel like you should move on intuition, not what's the other word I'm looking for? Not impulse. Don't move off impulse, move off intuition. That's always going to lead you in the right direction. I'm a huge supporter of that. But I will say that I think people rush into it and don't really ask themselves what all goes into it. Like, if you have a passion for creating tumblers, right? You like to make tumblers, the little cups, you like to DIY them and personalize them, and you sell them to your friends here and there, and then you think, I can make this into a business. I think the real questions that we need to ask ourselves to figure out if we are ready to go into business. Not if your idea is great. Your idea is amazing, right? You have this great idea. It's awesome. I'm right there with you, okay? I believe that you can make it happen. I believe you have a great idea. But what I want you to do is kind of center in and ask yourself these 3 questions. So, can I do it? Will it work? Is it worth the risk? And I'll go into depth on those. So 1, can I do this? Can you do this? Do you have the skill? Do you have a little bit of the knowledge? And most importantly, do you have the confidence to make this hobby or this passion and turn it into a full-time business? Are you well versed enough? Have you practiced it enough? Have you researched it enough? Do you know what goes into it? At least a little bit. You just need working knowledge. You don't have to be like, have a degree in business, and got your MBA or anything like that. All you have to do is have a little bit of a working knowledge. So do you have a working knowledge? Are you competent? Do you understand what's going on in that specific field? And are you confident that you can do it? Will it work? Do you have the resources, the time, the energy to put into this business? Can you make it work? Can you say, okay, well, I know I work my 9 to 5 right now, but from 5 to 9, I can solely just focus in on my business and I can get things done. I'll plan things out, a week in advance, start to write things down and make a few checklists to do checklists and see how much you can get done. Is that how you feel about it when you start to think, will this work? Do you think, maybe it won't? Or are you more, yes, I have the resources. Yes, I have the time. Yes, I have the working knowledge. Yes, I have the confidence. Yes, this will work because of everything that I already know inside me and how passionate I am about exactly what it is that I want to do. And I have the knowledge. Working knowledge is all you need. I have the knowledge. I have the skill. I have the passion. And I'm ready. Like, yes, I can do this and I can make it work. So that is 2 out of 3. If you have a stern, positive, unwavering faith yes to those 2 questions, stick with me because here's the hard one. Is it worth the risk? Is it worth the risk to you? I will tell you, as a 2-time business owner, my first business that I opened, my first online e-commerce, it wasn't super easy, but it was simple enough. This business in coaching, not so much. Not so much easy. A lot goes into it. There's a lot of training. There's a lot of things that you need to know. There's a lot There's just a ton that goes into it. So is it worth the risk? Is you going into business, in the specific business that you want to go into, is it worth the risk? Is it worth risking the resources when you may not have a lot of them? Let's face it, a lot of us, just graduated college or are just a few years out of college, and now we want to take this education that we have and start these businesses, which I believe is such a great idea. I'm doing the same thing. But I feel like you really have to ask yourself, is it worth the risk? You're risking time that you will not get back. You can make money back. You cannot get time back. It will never be Thursday at 6:45 p.m. August 2nd, I was about to say July, August 2nd of 2018. It will never be this time on this day again. So is it worth the risk? You are risking time. You're risking your resources, whether that's money, help from others, someone's helping you build things, you're hiring out freelancers, you're getting things looked over, you're paying for a course, you're in this program that's trying to walk you through how to build this business. Like, that's also a risk. And then, of course, just as humans, there's that risk of failure and that risk of embarrassment and that risk of, you have this great idea, you're very passionate about it, you really want it to be your business, you could live your entire life doing this, but is it worth everything that you're going to have to put up? I'm going to tell you right now, if you're the type of girl who likes to, go to the happy hour every Friday, you're going to risk that. That's not going to be a thing anymore. If you're the type that needs to make sure that her hair is always done and she don't do it herself and she got to go to somebody to do it, you're going to have to push that to once every 3 weeks. So you might see your hairdresser, y'all might become long lost friends, because you're not going to have, you don't have the luxury of allocating money that should go to your business and treating it like it's play money. You don't have that anymore. I'm just gonna be quite frank. You don't have that. I don't care what background you come from. You do not have that. When you need to make sure that you're maintaining your home and you're trying to start your business, and then let's not forget that a lot of us have jobs. So you're trying to balance all those things and figure out what you're going to put on the shelf and say, this can wait. A lot of that is going to be one of them, or some of them. It's going to be a lot is going to have to wait. A lot is going to have to go on the back burner. A lot of trips, a lot of vacations, a lot of nights out. Those you're all just going to have to sacrifice. So you really want to ask yourself, is it worth the risk? Am I going to walk down the street with egg on my face because I told my mom, my sisters, all my friends, some of the people that I work with, that I'm building this business? So am I going to have egg on my face because it didn't work? Like, is it worth the risk of maybe being embarrassed? Is it worth the risk of failing? Maybe I'll put it out there and it won't work. Is it worth the risk? That's something, and that's I'm so long-winded on this one because I really, 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 really want you to consider if it's worth the risk. You have to map out what you're risking. You have to map out what you're putting on the table, what you're about to sacrifice, and say, yes, it's worth it. Yes, I'm ready to do it this way. Yes, I'll put all that on the table. Yes, I'm willing to take these risks because I know that it will work, and this is what I want to do, so this is what I'm going to do. If you do not have a stern, positive, confident, like you feel it from your gut, like you're like, yeah, this gonna work. Like, I know it's gonna work. If you don't have that feeling, I want you to really take a step back, do a little bit more research, play around in the area, start maybe following people who are doing the same thing as you on social media, seeing how, they're building their businesses, and maybe do just a little bit more market research to figure out exactly where you're going to fit in that, and figure out just the basic costs to start. And I don't mean just the cost in time. I mean the cost in time, the cost in money, just all of those things you want to make sure that you put on the table so that you're not going in blind. And I want you to ask yourself 3 different questions. 1, can I make this work? If you're not going into it super confident, like, yeah, this is going to work because I have the skill, the working knowledge, and the resources, and I'm ready to go. If you don't necessarily feel that way right now at this point, I want you to ask yourself, can I make this work with the resources that you have, with the time that you have, with the working knowledge that you have, with the faith and hope in what you're doing? Can you make it work? Do I have, and then the second question I want you to ask yourself is, do I have the resources, time, and energy to see this through? A lot of people get out of the honeymoon phase of business, like you know that point in business where you're like, oh, this is a great idea. I'm going to start this business. I'm going to make this happen. I can't wait. Let me put it out to the world. Then you make all your social media pages. You put your products and stuff together. You're trying to build an audience. And then all of a sudden, you learn the other side. You learn that you need an opt-in. You don't even know what an opt-in is. You know you need to have an ideal client avatar. You're learning about conversion rates and email lists and autoresponders and tags and ifs and all this other stuff that comes into it. And if you are not willing to put the energy and the time and the resources into really understanding those things, that's where everybody falls off. That's where so many women just fall off and they're like, oh yeah, it just wasn't for me, or it was too much, or I'm gonna come back to it later. If you watch my last video, you know the shoulda, coulda, woulda syndrome. But you don't want to be like that. So you want to ask yourself those two questions, and then the last one. Am I willing to make the necessary sacrifices to make this happen? What we talked about before as far as not being able to go out as much as you might like. Are you willing to put that on the back burner for your dreams? Are you willing to differently allocate your play money differently than you do your actual funds? If you don't know what play money is, I've said it in videos before, but that's just the money that you have to play with. Your whole check, the funds that belong to you, all of that should not be play money. We'll get into that later. But your play money should not mix with the money that's allocated for other things. So are you willing to risk that? Are you willing to make the necessary sacrifices and go the extra mile and not give up when it gets hard and pay for things? I know when you're first starting out in business, you want to see what you can get for free, but trying to DIY your business and take the long way is just a waste. You're just wasting so much time thinking that you're saving money. YouTube, Google, blogs, these free resources can only get you so far. You need a blueprint. So are you willing to pay for the services to learn those things and really be successful? So I'll leave it there because, you know, it was going on a rant. And I don't want this video to be too long. But ladies, I really want you to ask yourself those 3 questions before you even start going into business, before you start thinking about a website, before you start thinking about how to pitch your product, before you start thinking about creating social media pages for your business, before you legalize, before you move, before you do anything. I need you to ask yourself those 3 questions. Can it work? Or can I do this? Will it work? And is it worth the risk? So ask yourself those questions. We can talk about it in the comments below. If you need help or a little bit of insight on things, I am here and I'm more than willing to help. You can email me. All that information will be in the description box below. If you have not already subscribed, please subscribe, like, and share these videos. If you have fellow girl bosses that you think would need this word, then go ahead and share it out. Again, my name is Christy Williams, and I will see you soon.